see all of the projects. You're in groups of 4, 5, and 6, I believe. So there is enough uh, amount of students per group. So in that essence, I think that Tuesday is a reasonable time for you to finish it up, right? Now, when it comes to the bioenergetics, are you willing to do a final project rather than a final examination? I heard, I think at least from 10 of you that decided not to have an exam but have a project. Does that still hold? Because
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
Yes, sir.
but I want to see majority of you guys decide on this and not only me or some of you. So if you vote for yes, yes, Elvis.
No, I'm just raising my hand as voting for
Okay.
yes.
Okay, if that is a yes, I want the persons interested in no final examination and a final project to raise your hand. Okay. Apparently, you guys would require better a final project. That's kind of understood. Okay. Let me quickly do something here and propose something to you. Let's see how feasible that will be within 2 weeks for you to finalize this. So you said that you're compromising to work. I haven't written it up. I have don't have it, but I have the idea what I want. Okay, I will show you in a minute. Kind of, basically from the very beginning, I had this idea, but just didn't know whether it's gonna work or not. But I think now that okay, just give it a little time for the Jamboard to load up. But this is what I want for. All right. Okay, guys, please pay attention. This is for bioenergetics. If you have decided on this, I'll start writing up the details for this. On the course outline, I had kind of an idea to do a module, but we are not going to do a module, a three-dimensional module. We're not going to be doing that at this point. What we're going to be doing, and this is what I want, is I want to have, it's 21 or 22 of you. Let me quickly check. How many of you guys are in this class? 22, I see,
22.
right? 22. So, can I have 4 groups of 5, right? And 2 groups of those 4 will have 6. So, in other words, we have 2 groups of 5 and 2 groups of 6. And I want to have the groups today because you need to start working on this. This is what I want, right? I want you guys to divide yourselves, and we're going to represent photosynthesis and respiration. Okay, so if I have photosynthesis here, whichever one you decide to do first, doesn't matter to me. Because at the same time, they're all linked up as you have seen. Okay. So you will have 2 kind of posters. But this type of poster, guys, is not gonna be the regular Bristol board size. I want you guys to create a big poster. You might want to attach, for example, shop paper, 4 shop papers or 6 shop papers, whatsoever, for each of these process. And I want each of these processes drawn, right? Drawn And you're going to use your creativity. You might want to include the cell or where it's happening. You might want to even include the structure of the leaf. But I want a full detailed explanation of both photosynthesis and respiration. So if you might want to have here the structure of the leaf, I'm just going to show here perhaps it's going to be the the same one I showed you, showing the spongy and the palisade mesophyll where the chloroplasts are embedded, etc. Right? You might want to show that in that poster. So this is going to be your poster. It will include the structure of the leaf. You might want to include a section on the nature of light, right? You're going to use your creativity here, guys. You're going to use your right now. Okay? You're going to use your creativity. The thing is, when you record that video, I want all of you guys to appear on that video, and everybody will have a fair share of it. Everybody will explain a part of it, so that when the video is completed, you will have both photosynthesis and respiration explained. Does that make sense? So you have light here, the role of water in the process of photolysis. You might want to talk about the nature of light using the electromagnetic spectrum, the role of water in photolysis, how this separates hydrogen and oxygen atoms or ions in many cases. And then it goes through the light-dependent reactions. And you will explain, okay, you will explain two processes here, the cyclic phosphorylation and the non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Right? You're going to explain how the electrons that come from water enter the photosystem. Right? I will just put here photo S meaning photosystem. 1 and 2. You will explain the role of light in basically creating a higher energy state for these electrons going through the electron transport chain, right? Producing light, ATP, and fluorescence. And here, in the other one, it produces through an electron transport chain NADPH, the electron carrier, right? So I want these explained, NADPH. Then we're going to explain how these molecules, NADPH, ATP, go through the light-independent reactions, basically the Calvin-Benson cycle. Yes. You're going to explain the process, and then the final product you're going to provide to me as a glucose molecule. So this is one process explained, and you might want to divide the work. That's why the groups are big enough, and the video must be recorded. If you want, I can take you to school next week, Thursday, when you have prepared all of your posters. All right, next week, Thursday, for you to record. You can use the classroom to stick up information. You might want to practice in the 2 hours before, 1 hour before the recording, because I want this video to be kind of very simplistic. I don't want full details as given on the PowerPoints, but I just want you guys to have the general idea as to what happens to all of these forms of reagents as they go through different forms of reactions. As well, you might not want to exclude chemiosmosis, right? So you might get someone to explain the chemiosmotic mechanism, right? And therefore, you're going to create a link between these two processes. In other words, these are kind of, we're going to put it this way, reversible. Not really reversible, not the term reversible I want to use here, but kind of showing that there is a linkage. Because glucose eventually will enter respiration. It will go through, first of all, glycolysis. You're going to explain it 10 steps, right? 1 to 5 and 6 to 10. At the end, you have pyruvate. This will go to the inner mitochondrial membrane and will be oxidized in the process of pyruvate oxidation. All right. The product of this will go through the TCA, the tricarboxylic acid cycle, or the citric acid cycle. And eventually, this will go through the ETC, or the electron transport chain, yielding 36 ATP, as we're going to see when we do bioenergetics next class. I will show you the energetics part of it. But the idea here, guys, is for us to review and explain both processes, because the entire course we were talking about photosynthesis and respiration, and there must be a need for us to link these two processes, understanding that one, photosynthesis require carbon dioxide, and which is the end product, which is oxygen, is linked up to respiration. And respiration produces carbon dioxide, which is then used by plants for photosynthesis. So this is clearly a function of linking, or creating a linkage between the two processes. Okay? Now, how does this sound? Is it better than the final examination? It's a video. You guys are gonna draw it up on if you want, you can use Bristol boards, that's fine. Try to reduce the cost for it. I don't know if there is paper that is long enough that you might want to use only one. As I recall, Ms. Perla before used to do, I don't know if Linnell was part of that. No, I don't think so. They used to do a module, and everybody put their part on the cell, right? Like, let's say, for example, they're doing a prokaryotic cell. Someone was supposed to do the vacuole, someone was supposed to do the endoplasmic reticulum, someone was going to do the if it's a plant cell, the chloroplast, the different organelles, and then they used to go and stick it up on the wall. And that's where they went and explained the cell as a module. Here, I was thinking of doing that, or and involve the entire class to do something about it. You guys decide who will do what, who will explain the chloroplast, who will explain the structure of the leaf, who is going to explain the citric acid cycle, who's going to do that. But at this point, I don't know how feasible it is, since we only have 2 weeks. So instead of that, I decided to divide it into groups. Instead of doing a 3D module, you guys are going to do diagrams, drawings. But I don't know if they have long paper, I don't know how you call them, where you can fit in all your diagrams there, and then eventually you're going to record and produce a video. Okay? How does that sound?
Sound good, sound good.
The video itself, guys, is not going to be used for any form of publishing. It's only going to be used for my grading purposes, and that's it. Okay, so if for some reason there is something that is not clear, and but that's the reason why you need to do a little bit of research. If you want, I could be present when you rehearse, and I'll tell you how to improve so that when you provide the final video, that is going to be the one that you're going to use for grading. So I'm still thinking that it's possible to do it in 2 weeks, but you guys have to concentrate on this now. The only thing that is left is test number 2, and then I have to do the energetics part, and then I have to do the fermentative reactions. That is 1 or 2 classes, and that's it. The one part that we're gonna not touch base is energy flow. We did that in ecosystems, in fundamentals, and we're still gonna touch that in the last semester, next semester when we do ecology. So indeed, there is gonna be a lot of energy flow more to discuss, but at this point, I wanted to concentrate on this project. If you decide to do this, then we're gonna, I don't know if you need my classes. If you want to go to school, I can ask permission. We can open up the classrooms. You can use them. I don't know. It's up to you. You guys are gonna tell me how I can assist you so that you can produce this short video explaining both photosynthesis and respiration. And like I said, one of the things I want to see is that all members of the group are going to participate, not only in drawing, but in explaining, right? In explaining. So, do you think, because this Thursday we want to go to school, I was going to tell you to go to school this Thursday. I don't know if we can rehearse there. If you want me, I can overgo the 2 different processes in one session. I can talk about it. And then from there, perhaps you can get ideas on how to present this information. There are lots of YouTube videos that you can watch to further understand and explain these different concepts, you know? So, but generally, this is what I want. Give you a, before I write down the information I want. So it's gonna be a presentation. It's gonna be a video that you're gonna be recording. You're gonna do the diagrams, but in the diagrams, you might want to include a couple of things here, right? Let's put it here in a linear sequence. One, we started with the structure of the leaf, right? And it's only quickly on explained showing where the chloroplasts are embedded within the leaf structure itself. That's all I need. I just need to see where the chloroplast is located. Because we didn't do much in terms of exchange. If you recall, I think that was covered in plant physiology, right? Oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange, that is in covered in plant physiology. Here, I was just to explain the energetics part of it. So the chloroplast, then we did the nature of light, right? And that we use the electromagnetic spectrum. Recall that, right? The different colors from 400 nanometers to 700 nanometers, that is considered visible light. And you don't have to explain for example, the wavelength and all of those things. I just gave you an idea for you to understand in terms of differences of color of light, how much absorptive power they have in terms of converting light energy to chemical energy. That's the only purpose. So you need to mention only that, for instance, at 400 to 700 nanometers, that is considered visible light, and the colors that absorb the highest wavelengths and possess more energy are the color red and orange. But for general purposes, plants absorb light energy closer to the 450, 60 to 500 nanometers. That's the range, right? Then we guys did the nature of a photosystem. And we look at pigments. Spoke about chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, accessory pigments, carotenoids, etc. Understanding the structure of the photosystem, how on the periphery we have those accessory pigments whose function is just to absorb sunlight energy and then emit it to the reaction center where chlorophyll A is present. And here at chlorophyll A, it has a reaction center that absorbs electrons that come from water, from the photolysis of water. So these electrons then become boosted up, right? And that's going to be energetics of electrons from photolysis. I don't know, it's important for you guys to decide here whether you want to explain it separately or you just might want to do the chemiosmotic mechanism one time, right? Because the chemiosmotic mechanism is what explains the energetics of these electrons. As when the electrons are boosted up to higher energy levels in one of the reaction centers, it produces ATP, it produces NADH plus H molecules, it produces fluorescence, and then these electron carriers produced in the other reaction center, etc. All of that can be explained in one diagram, which is the chemiosmotic mechanism. If you decide to do it in two separate ones, the way I showed you, then that's fine. But again, like I said, there's going to be much more explanation to it. Then we did the light independent reactions, which is the Calvin-Benson cycle. There are three stages, right, in the light independent reactions. One of them has to do with carbon dioxide or carbon reduction, where carbon dioxide is trapped off by a very important enzyme, which is Rubisco, right? So this is, carbon fixation. It's not carbon reduction, carbon fixation. Carbon dioxide is fixed into the Calvin-Benson cycle in the presence of Rubisco. The importance of these guys is for us to see how regeneration processes can happen. I don't recall the actual names of the molecules. I know there is G3P and 3PG. If I'm not mistaken, it is 3PG that is used to regenerate again for the cycle to continue. But I wanted to explain carbon fixation, carbon reduction, and regeneration, the three steps of the Calvin-Benson cycle. The product is going to be glucose. And like I said, I wanted to show the linkage between photosynthesis and respiration. Here, you're going to mention that in the process of photosynthesis, the byproduct is going to be oxygen, right? Carbon is fixed, oxygen is produced or released. Oxygen then becomes trapped by respiratory organisms, and they're going to use glucose for now a form of metabolism known as catabolism. So in the process of respiration, we started with glycolysis. And if you recall, glycolysis is a 10-step process, 5 of which are endothermic or endergonic, which require, right, they require energy from ATP in step 1 and 3. I don't know if you recall all of this information. Yeah, step 1 to 5, these are endergonic reactions. They require energy from ATP. And the importance of the energy supply is very essential. 1, for activation of the enzymes. 2, for creating that breakage of energy. When that activation energy is ruptured, then it is free for this molecule to start releasing those portions of energy in a multi-step fashion, as we saw from both pyruvate oxidation, the citric acid cycle, and the electron transfer chain. So one step 1 to 5, endergonic, 6 to 10, exergonic, has then now released ATP. If you recall, step 7 and step 10 produce ATP molecules. Then we looked at pyruvate oxidation. It's a three-step process catalyzed by a huge enzyme complex, pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. Pyruvate is kind of oxidized into acetate or acetyl. Portions of that energy is used to reduce NADH molecules and is also used to bond the coenzyme to acetate, producing acetyl OA. Right. Then we went to discuss the TCA 8-step process, series of oxidative processes that yield NADH2 molecules and FADH2 molecules. This is a very important process in the process of oxidation, because ultimately in the electron transport chain, we saw the oxidation of these electron carriers yielding high energy levels of ATP molecules. Now, all of these have their own diagrams. All of them have their own diagrams, and you will explain each of these different steps. So if the video might take you 15 minutes, don't hesitate to use that, as long as you explain every single process that I did for this course. Like I said, I'm not expecting, um, you know, information that you might want. No, no, no. I just want it to be very simple enough and try to understand that the information might be simple enough that you might want to explain it in a very easy way or fashion that is quite understood. The objective is for me to see how much you understood from these different processes and how much of it you can explain in 10-15 minutes, right? And that's gonna be the final project, right? I don't know if that sounds good. If that is, I mean, like I said, if you want for this Thursday, you can take what you need to take to school. We might want to rehearse. There is some work that we need to finalize there. The rooms are accessible. We might want to open them. You might want to use the board to draw and explain and practice and see if it is okay. And from there, we can go ahead. Guys, I see it's 25 of you. I'm kind of confused here. So why don't we do 6 groups or 4 groups of 6, and one might want to have 7 members, right? 4 groups of 6 and one group will have 7. So it's going to be 3 of 6 and one group of 7. That's going to be 25 of you. And that's going to be your final project, guys. And so you don't have to worry about final examinations anymore. Good. Now, in terms, yes, Ashby.
Sir, will we go to school this Thursday?
If you what?
Will we go to school this Thursday?
Yes, because we were asked by administration. At least I know some of you have been to our school campus, But one of the objectives as well is for us to um, get acquainted with the school itself, because apparently in January there is a huge possibility that the doors will be open for face-to-face learning. So we are preparing for that, and I want you guys to learn from the campus and be acquainted with it so you feel comfortable when you get there on in January. Sorry. And at the same time, we're working closely to have a one lab there, a practical lab, sometime this week or next week, just for us to be acquainted also with the science lab. You know, so that's the reason why I am asking you guys to one, do your groups right away, have your groups ready, decide how you want to do this, what type of paper you're going to be using to do the diagrams, who has a very good camera for the recordings, who will edit the video, who will do which step of either respiration or photosynthesis. If there is a need to do a small module, you might want to do that for further explanation. You might want to use that, that's fine. If there is a demonstration that you might want to include, that's also fine. But what I want really is just the flow chart, a diagram that flows from photosynthesis to respiration and vice versa. That's what I want. Now, if you ask me who will appear on the video, like I said, everybody, and I need to see your faces. I need to see your faces explaining. Um, Presentation rubric is the same one we use in class. The only one that I will kind of write down something at this point is what I expect. And I think I have explained you what I expect from you on that video. I want the details of these processes explained by you. I will not accept any form of reading. That's one thing. That's very essential. If you intend to do reading from a book or something, then I will be heavily penalizing you as an individual, not the group, right? As an individual on your presentation uh, mode. At this point, guys, we're expecting you to kind of grasp information and be able. That's the reason why I'm asking. You guys need to be there at school at 9 o'clock in the morning and leave somewhere before 2 o'clock. So that's the time that we're going to be using to work on this project. Take whatever you need to. Like I said, we have the materials there, the classrooms, the whiteboard, the markers, anything that you need to draw, prepare for that presentation when you're going to record it. And then when I open up the platform next week, or the folder, sorry, where you will upload the videos, then it will be clearly accessible not only to myself, but as well to Miss Erica, and I'm sure administration will also be looking at this. Yes, Shanti.
Sir, so it's just one person who will be submitting, sir?
Yes, only one, but you will include all members in that particular. I mean, you'll have the names. But like I said, I need to see everybody participating, because if you decide not to participate in any form of explanation, it could happen that you did all the work, you wrote everything, and you did the explanation, and you did the posters. But if I don't see you in that video, then there is no proof, you see? And here, one of the things that is important is that the teachers and administration can see that you did something. And by participating in that video is going to be very essential. So we got to be careful at this point, I believe. They are not going to intervene in any form of grading. No, they are not going to do that. They're not going to intervene in any form of criticism. They're not going to do that. I think that at this point is going to be kind of essential, like I said before, not only the presentation styles and etc., but now I want to see how well you can work under pressure. I know this is the last 2 weeks, and instead of the final examination, because I started the final exam last night, and as it is, then I will have to stop and then concentrate on writing the rubric for this. and the rubric for recreation. So having that in mind, then I believe we're set for the semester, right? Next semester, guys, let me tell you that there is not going to be that option. Next semester, we still have to do a final project, plus there's going to be a final examination to all the courses. So, guys, this is the only one time I think that we could have kind of had an option. Next semester, like I said, there will be a final examination and there will be a final project. So don't be, you know, it's not all on our end. You know, administration has also their voice in it. Yes, Shanti. Elvis.
So, like for the following semester, the final exam would be for the whole like subjects, for
Yes.
just for that semester.
No, it's gonna be for only for that course. The final
Okay.
exam will only be there for that course. Yes.
Okay.
Like I said, though, it is the ideal situation as yes, Shanti.
Sir, so why would we need to go to school, sir, if we the project is done like video?
That's the reason I said I want to see how much progress you have done, right? I want to see you, and then you have that contact with your friends, and we can see each other and meet each other personally. There is any questions, any comments, concerns, any suggestions there is for this project, guys, feel free to do that. At the end of the day, also, I'm interested in seeing how much you can produce and how much I can grasp from you too, because learning is a two-way situation here. I teach some content, but you at the same time teach me a lot of different things that I could personally use for future um, courses that I'll be teaching. So, like I said, that's the reason why I will give you the details. I think Miss Erica has sent kind of an agenda there, or how you call it, a timeline for these 2 weeks. I think that she will share that with you if she hasn't, and that then shows that you will be assisting school this Thursday with the intention, again, like I said, of meeting each other, getting to know each other, and at the same time, one of the things here is for us to start uh, showing progress in this project. So from now on, till Thursday, I want to see how much you have done. If there is a need, I want to see you practicing, before the recording. Yes, Ashali.
Sir, what time do we have to be in campus?
9 o'clock in the morning. 9:15. Because I have a class early morning with agriculture. Yes, Ashwin. And then I will meet you guys after that.
Sir, from what time to what time do we have to be at school?
Okay. It's usually 9 to 2. But if you decide to, you have almost everything ready for that day, and you show me what you have, then eventually you might end up perhaps midday, 12:30. Last week I took by 1 and they were there until 2. They decided to, because I had told them to leave like 12:30 if they were finished. And they decided to stay there, hang around, and work more on that project. So, indeed, we'll see, but it's gonna be fun. Yes.
Sir,
Sir,
do we have to take?
is the agriculture group going to go along with us, or is it
No, no,
only
no, no,
your
no.
group?
I only have an online class with them. I teach them chemistry one, so I will have them online only.
Okay, sir.
Yes, Shanti.
Sir,
Mm-hmm.
do we have to take our materials like our Bristol board and all them things, sir?
Well, if you decide to, or if you decide, depends, because if you're ready by Thursday and you want to record your video, you might want to take all of your materials. Like I said, we have enough space there so that you guys can work. I will be assigning you guys a classroom One group might be working on the science lab, one group on the computer lab, one group on the conference room. You know, so you guys have enough space for your own. So if you need to practice and explain things and etc., then you might want to do your recording. If not, then it's up to you till next week. But the
Okay,
thing
so
is,
thank you very much.
yeah, the thing is, I will need that video by next week, right? So, all right. Well, guys, I think if there is no other question, let me work on the rubrics. I'll be uploading them. I have to send it to Miss Erica first, and then I will be uploading to you. But I think it's pretty much clear what we're doing here, right? I think. Is it clear? Good. Excellent. All right. Well, guys, I should see you. Continue working so you don't have to worry about bioenergetics final exam. You just continue with the project. All right. And like I said, feel free to be creative. Go outside the box and do things that are not perhaps as here, but you know it's going to be profitable to you or beneficial to you in trying to explain and teach these different concepts. I want to see how I could share our videos amongst the class so that everybody can see it. So perhaps the last day of class, we might sit down and we're gonna watch all videos together, right? You see, and I don't know how feasible that is, but yeah, definitely I want to do that, right? All right, guys, I'll let you go. I'll see you tomorrow for recreation. Take care, guys.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
Right.